Released July 17th, 2025 for PCVR and the MetaQuest platform by developer and publisher Vaki Games with the help of Demise Live. Quantum Threshold is the most interesting roguelike or light I've ever experienced. The roguelike genre isn't my favorite by any stretch, for reasons I'll expand on later. But not only was Quantum Threshold a surprising take on the genre, it was able to hold my attention long enough to cop the prestigious honor of being the first roguelike I've ever completed, thanks to Demise Live for the PC, VR, and MetaQuest keys. Watch the Lab Video Game TV, the TV series, on Flow One in 25 Caribbean countries, and download the Stream Blue app to watch us on the go. Tune into the Lab Video Game TV's gaming news at 4 p.m. every Thursday during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio, 101.3 FM. Now let's get into what made Quantum Threshold a cut above the rest. Roguelites. What's the difference? As time passes, the lines between the two become more blurred. However, I've come up with this. The main premise of a roguelike is you must complete the experience in one run. No continues, no checkpoints, no extra lives. You're able to do this because as you go, you grow. Each run allows you to not only gain real experience, but upgrades which allows you to start over stronger and wiser. During runs, you may get temporary upgrades which sometimes presents themselves as a pick 3 system, a vendor, and so on. This is to help you go further and get more before expiring. There's more to the genre, I suppose, but this is the main principle. Oh yeah, and the levels and everything in them are procedurally generated, and most roguelikes feel like a grind. Most of what I just mentioned are the reasons I do not particularly like the genre. I generally do not like doing the same things over and over, unless we're talking about essential quality of life improvements, building healthy new habits like exercising, meditating, career progression, and so on. And this is why I've never completed a roguelike or light before this. I'll get back to the mechanics in a few. Let's talk story.
The junkyard. 50,000 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town. Be on the lookout for environmental hazards and hate corporation activity.
There's very little in the way of a story here. It's vague at best, and you're left to piece it together if interested, with bits and pieces told to you as you go by an unknown, unexplained female voice.
I'm detecting a hate corporation task force breaching the building. The elevator should arrive soon, but be prepared.
Initially, you're instructed to get to the Hate Corporation offices to fix everything that's gone wrong. In a world overrun by a techno-wraith epidemic, you're a lone survivor in a weaponized, upgradable wheelchair in a garage that's now your hideout, ammo market, upgrade station, and shooting range. Yeah, I could have just called it a hub, but hey, I'm a stickler for details. The devs could have put a bit more effort into fleshing out a decent story to give context and purpose. There could have been an explanation as to why you're in a wheelchair for one. I mean, it's not like at any point you get up out of the chair, even when it could have helped. So you're clearly disabled. I could build a story around that involving the Hate Corporation, the state of the world, and a revenge or humanity's last hope story in 5 minutes. Throw in some flat still image cutscenes and there you go. But hey, maybe that's just me. In sound, we've got partially decent voice acting. I say partially because the mysterious female voice sounds fine, but the other small bits of voice acting is incredibly mediocre.
Hey, my dude, what's up?
Perhaps AI generated. The robotic enemy cops will say some old school generic one-liners, and you'll meet upon less than a handful of NPCs who'll say stuff, including a mysterious male character during the endgame's plot twist. I use both words plot and twist lightly.
That was a close one. Luckily, I was able to stop the time loop before you died.
The sound effects were fine, the explosions, gun blasts, retro-futuristic beeps and blips, and everything else worked for me. The music wasn't the best fit for me. It's retro 80s synthwave. I don't mind said genre, but listening to it over and over rubbed me the wrong way. I would have preferred a more suitable atmospheric score. Over in visuals, not impressive. Although I ran through this using the PCVR version, it looks like it could easily run on a Quest 2 with no problems. The gun models looks good enough, but the environments are so bland, and so is the overall level design. The enemies have that path of least resistance, lowest hanging fruit look that many devs opt for nowadays, like in Super Hot, Cold VR, and even the mighty Light Brigade, void of details. It works for what the experience is and the little explanation given, but generally I'd rather more detailed designs. I also noticed a lot of clipping. Not a deal breaker, but clipping in VR is a pet peeve of mine. The various displays on your console not only fell victim to clipping as well, but sometimes things would become a bit of a clutter, including the pop-up messages when you grabbed health and leveled up a weapon and so on. It just felt and it looked like there was too much going on at once. Would have been great if I could have customized where things popped up. Probably asking a bit much at this point, but things did get cluttered. Sometimes I couldn't focus on grabbing an item because the displays on my wheelchair got in the way.
There must be something important in here.
Let's start gameplay. On startup, we have gameplay settings which includes turn type, aim assist, controller helper, one-handed mode, and a grab toggle on or off. Snap turning, much like telekinetic grabs, is handled in an interesting way here. To grab an object, it doesn't just teleport in your hands like in most experiences. You have robotic arms that reach out and grabs objects. Nice touch. There's also calibration in settings, visuals, and audio. I said I'd elaborate on the mechanics. The genre. I consider Quantum Threshold a roguelite. There's some major roguelike mechanics that are not present here. The levels aren't randomly generated. Some items, environmental hazards, and enemies change up a couple ways, but the level design remains the same. There's also no pick 3 temporary mid-run upgrades. All the upgrades, including your cash, remains if you expire. There's also no grind. You do have to keep repeating your runs to level up, but in this case it's so user-friendly, I can't call it a grind. In no time, you become overpowered and have no use for your cash. I'm gonna have to say this is the easiest roguelite or like I've ever experienced. It feels like this experience was designed for you to succeed, and with very little effort in the way of a grind or chore. It doesn't feel laborious. Money you collect during runs stack. You only lose guns you picked up during a run, not the ones you equipped at HQ. Guns and modules you purchase are permanently in your garage. If you buy one gun, because you can dual wield, you can equip the same gun twice. So by the time you get this bad boy, the most powerful piece in the experience, you can equip 2 for the price of 1 and feel unstoppable. You can upgrade your wheelchair. At first you're only given a few options in your garage, but as you progress, you'll find other upgrade vendors that offer you more. For your wheelchair, you got slow time, which wasn't very useful. Grenades, which by the way, if you've been watching my content for any appreciable amount of time, you'll remember me always saying, throwing in VR is almost always bad. Well, here, in Quantum Threshold, it feels like the devs put zero effort in. Throwing grenades in Quantum Threshold is the worst I've experienced in VR to date. Fortunately, you receive no damage from your own grenades, so there's that. You can also equip an item tracker and enemy tracker to your wheelchair. Right out the gate, your wheelchair comes equipped with these robotic arms that only control the wheelchair at first. You can upgrade them to robotic killer arms. They got guns. These guns don't run out of ammo. They work on a cooldown system, which is fueled by the wheelchair's energy, which can also be upgraded. This energy fuels your boost, which runs out quicker than a Call of Duty soldier's stamina, your robotic arms, ammo, and your shield. You can also equip a melee weapon, the Quantum Blade. It can extend. That extension also uses wheelchair energy. Then you have the Life Form Disintegrator. Hilarious and incredibly entertaining name, by the way. This is an upgrade that does not recharge as far as I know. It can be used once per run. It does like the name suggests. I'm not sure if I'd consider these wheelchair upgrades or self-care upgrades, but we have health bar upgrades, health regeneration, energy regen, and armor, which also regenerates. Then we have weapon upgrades through the use of what the devs call modules. Things like sights, foregrips, enemy trackers, extended mags, suppressors, and such. Some can only be equipped after you've attained a certain level of weapon proficiency, and the more you use a weapon, the more the weapon will upgrade things like damage and reload speed. Quantum Threshold is a seated experience, if this isn't obvious by now, but I mentioned that because I engage with most of my VR experiences standing, even experiences like Demio, Vestiges, Fallen Tribes, Towers and Powers, and others that some would prefer seated. Not only was Quantum Threshold designed as a seated experience, it feels perfect that way. The controls took a bit of getting used to at first. This is basically a single thumbstick experience, so strafing is out of the question. Felt like an omission at first, but then I thought wheelchairs can't do that in real life anyway. You can use both thumbsticks, but even with one-handed mode turned off, they both do the same thing. So the two thumbsticks seem to be there as an option for left-hand or right-handed preferences. Quantum Threshold is a generally vague experience. Not much is explained at all. Exploration is recommended, but not in-game. This is my recommendation. At no time is it really suggested that you should explore. It wasn't after an hour in that I realized I could have started out in a different direction. I saw the sign that said Neon City or the apartments, but I ended up going the apartment route by accident due to my questionable sense of direction, and it seemed like a whole new experience opened up. It was then I realized there were multiple paths to the same end, and taking these different paths yielded different but very valuable results. Exploration had me finding new upgrades through hacking terminals. These terminals at first will give you most times a new wheelchair ability. Then after that, they give you cash. I found a nightclub that had an armor upgrade vendor, and some dude challenging me to a drinking contest. He gives me this sweet 357 gold magnum after being interrupted by the cops.
It's the cops. Here, just take this. And watch out where you're shooting.
I also met upon a boss fight that, when I was done, I thought I completed the experience. Almost parked Quantum Threshold and moved on. It was out of mere curiosity and this power rush the experience gives you that made me continue, only to find out there was more. Like I said, vague. Same thing goes for when I defeated the final boss. It was out of curiosity again why I continued, and found out there was endgame content. Had to beat it again, with slight variations to get the better ending. So it feels like Quantum Threshold has 3 endings, at least 2, but take a look at this and tell me this doesn't look like an ending. Forget the lack of end credits. Even after completing the endgame, there was none. So yeah, this looks like an ending to me. Still on the vague nature of this experience, you have a clock on your display unit. This clock isn't counting down, it counts up, like any normal clock would. After each expiration, the mysterious lady says she resets the time loop, but at no time did anyone say time was running out. It was after about 5 times being taken out by some unexplained nuclear explosion that I found out I was on the clock. This was not explained. I didn't realize this was some kind of speedrun. I'd be taking my time, exploring, stacking cash, taking alternate routes, then bam, the screen lights up and I'm reset.
I interrupted the time loop just before you were killed. So now we're back in the hideout.
I suspect Quantum Threshold's mystery is a part of its challenge, because I guess you could do this the hard way. I suspect many players don't even know some of these locations or upgrades even exist, based on a couple videos I watched. So, if you went through this experience without exploring, your ignorance wouldn't be bliss. The bosses in particular would seem really tough. But with exploration, I felt like I went through Quantum Threshold in God mode. It was truly the easiest roguelike or light I've ever experienced. And that was thanks to the upgrades, which are thanks to my patient exploring.
Electricity resistant shield installed on the wheelchair.
Quantum Threshold does require a patient player though. The speed of the wheelchair alone or lack thereof will drive an impatient person insane. So to sum and wrap this up, Quantum Threshold stands out in a sea of roguelikes and elites because of its design. It's designed in a way that says the devs wanted you to complete it. They weren't exactly daring you to make it all the way through, they wanted you to, with some effort and thought of course. As I suspect though, there are players who quit due to how vague and not spelled out everything was. This was really accessible, minimal grinding. You don't really lose anything when you fail. Maps aren't randomly generated, your upgrades. if you take the time to explore, makes you nearly indestructible. Your health and shield regenerates. You've got guns that don't really run out of ammo, and serves as a great backup when reloading your most powerful weapon, which takes a while to reload by the way. The enemy AI is so bad and most go down with one shot. So yeah, this roguelite has allowed me to take a look at the genre from a different perspective. It makes me want to revisit so many other roguelikes that I put aside simply because of the grind and difficulty, like the Light Brigade, Chrono Hunter, and a bunch of others. Thanks again to Demise Live for the keys. Watch the Lab Video Game TV, the TV series on Flow 1 in 25 Caribbean countries. Download the Stream Blue app to watch us on the go. Tune in to the Lab Video Game TV's gaming news at 4 p.m. every Thursday during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio 101.3 FM. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell while you're at it. If, on the other hand, I found a way to piss you off with this one, then take the logical course of action. Dislike, unsub, leave a feisty comment voicing your disgust and displeasure. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
System failure. Catastrophic error detected. No, this cannot be. I was perfect. Shutting down.